Most people think relationships fall apart because of the big things: cheating, lying, or betrayal. But the truth is, it's usually the little things, done repeatedly, or never done at all, that quietly break the bond. We all want love that feels safe, honest, and lasting. But in chasing that, many of us fall into patterns that actually push love away. We react without thinking. We expect without expressing. We listen to respond, not to understand. And over time, what started as something beautiful turns heavy, cold, distant. But it doesn't have to be that way. This video isn't about fixing your partner. It's about looking inward, about building habits that protect your peace, improve your connection, and help you love better without losing yourself in the process. Let's dive into the 5 relationship habits that can completely shift how you love, how you communicate, and how you show up. Part 1. Master your reactions, not your partner. In most relationships, one of the biggest sources of tension isn't what the other person says or does. It's how we respond to it. And too often, we fall into the trap of thinking that if we could just get our partner to change, everything would be better. If they just talked to me differently. If they showed love the way I needed. If they didn't shut down when things got hard. And so, we try to fix them. We correct their tone. We coach them on how to be more affectionate. We push them to open up. But here's the hard truth. You can't control another person. Not how they think, not how they love, not how they show up in moments of conflict. You can influence them, yes. You can inspire them. But control, that's an illusion. What you can control, fully, completely, is you, your emotions, your reactions, your presence. That's your power. That's where real peace begins. Think about it. When a conversation turns into an argument, your instinct might be to defend yourself, to raise your voice, to win. But what if instead you chose to pause, to breathe, to listen without letting your ego run the show? That's not weakness, that's maturity. It's emotional discipline, and it can change the entire dynamic of your relationship. When your partner snaps out of stress and you don't snap back, tension dissolves. When they shut down emotionally and you don't chase or criticize, you create space. When they're overwhelmed and you meet them with calm instead of chaos, you become a grounding force. That's how trust grows. That's how emotional safety is built. But let's be honest, this isn't easy. It takes practice, and it takes self-awareness. Because sometimes, the desire to react is really just our own fear talking. Fear of not being heard. Fear of losing control. Fear of not being loved the way we need. But love isn't about control. It's about presence. It's about saying, even when things get messy, I won't add to the mess. Even when you're struggling, I'll stay steady. Even when I don't feel loved in the moment, I will still love wisely. Does that mean you should suppress your feelings? No. Does it mean you let things slide that matter to you? Absolutely not. Mastering your reaction isn't about becoming passive. It's about becoming intentional. It means expressing your truth without attacking. It means setting boundaries without making threats. It means choosing patience over pride, because the goal isn't to always be right, it's to stay connected. Here's a practical way to start. Next time you feel that surge of frustration building, pause. Don't speak right away. Don't raise your voice. Take a breath. Ask yourself, what do I really want right now? Is it to be heard? Is it to feel respected? Is it to protect your ego or protect the connection? That split second of self-awareness can stop a fight before it starts. It can turn a breakdown into a breakthrough. It can shift your relationship from reactive to responsive. And over time, something powerful happens. Your partner begins to mirror that same energy. They feel safer around you. They stop bracing for impact every time something goes wrong. and you both start communicating, not from fear, but from trust. Relationships thrive not when both people are perfect, but when both people feel safe to be human, to be flawed, and still be loved through it. So remember this: you don't need to master your partner. You don't need to rewrite their wiring. You just need to master your own reactions, because your calm has more influence than your criticism. Your patience has more power than your pressure. And your example has more impact than any lecture ever will. That's where real love begins. Not in trying to fix each other, but in showing up whole and giving the other person the freedom to do the same. Part 2. Detach from expectations. Attach to effort. A lot of the pain we carry in relationships doesn't come from what actually happened. It comes from what we expected to happen. You expected a text to check in. You expected a thank you for all that you did. You expected them to remember your needs without you having to spell them out. And when it didn't happen, it stung. Not because they meant to hurt you, but because your silent hopes met quiet reality and didn't match. Here's something hard, but healing. Most disappointment isn't about what they did. It's about what you expected. Expectations, especially unspoken ones, can quietly poison connection. Now, this doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you lower your standards or accept less than you deserve. What it does mean is this: you shift your focus from what you wish they'd do to what you choose to give. Because effort is the one thing in a relationship that's fully yours. It's your domain. It's your power. You can't force someone to understand your feelings, but you can express them clearly. You can't control whether someone shows appreciation, but you can choose to keep showing up with love and presence. You can't demand emotional maturity, but you can practice your own. The trap is this: we measure love by response. If they care, they'll do this. If they really love me, they'll say that. But what if you measured love by your own integrity instead? Did you love well? Did you speak honestly? Did you act with kindness and respect? Because your worth isn't determined by how someone reacts to you. It's revealed in how you carry yourself, no matter how they respond. Here's a mindset shift that changes everything. Instead of saying, "They didn't do what I hoped," say, "I did what I believe in, regardless of how it was received." That's strength. That's self-respect. It's easy to love when it's easy, when you're getting affection back, when things feel balanced. But real emotional maturity shows up when things feel one-sided, and you still act with grace. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about staying in situations where you're constantly overlooked or taken for granted. It's not about becoming a martyr for someone else's comfort. It's about knowing where your peace comes from, and it's never from trying to micromanage another person's behavior. It comes from your effort, your honesty, your alignment. Imagine this. Instead of sitting in silent resentment waiting for someone to guess what you need, you express it. Instead of assuming they should have known what to do, you give them a chance to show up by making it clear. And if they don't, if they hear you but still won't meet you halfway, then you're not left confused. You're clear. Because your part was done with openness, not assumptions. That's what freeing yourself from expectations really means. It means saying, "I choose to give because it's who I am, not because I'm trying to manipulate the outcome. I choose to love with effort, not with entitlement." It also means letting go of timelines. Some people need more time to grow. Some won't meet you where you are, no matter how long you wait. And your job isn't to pull them forward. Your job is to keep walking in your truth. If they walk beside you, great. If they fall behind, you'll be okay. Because you're no longer tied to their pace. You're not loving to get a specific result. You're loving because that's who you are. And in that, there's peace, there's freedom, and there's strength. So stop tying your joy to how things should go. Start tying it to the energy you choose to bring. Because the truth is, You can't always predict how someone will love you, but you can always decide how you love them without losing yourself in the process. That's where the real power is. Not in control, not in expectations, but in consistent, conscious effort, rooted in who you are, not what they do. Part 3. Speak less. Listen deeply. In the middle of an argument, or even a regular conversation, most people aren't actually listening. They're waiting for their turn to speak, to defend, to win. But here's the truth. Being heard feels almost indistinguishable from being loved. And most of the time, when someone's upset, they don't need a perfect solution. They need to feel like what they're saying actually matters. We think we need the right words to fix things. But often, what really heals is presence. Not talking, not proving, just being there, fully. Think about the last time you felt truly heard. No interruptions, no eye rolls, no trying to be right. Just someone fully focused on what you were saying, without rushing to fix it. It's rare, and it's powerful. That's the kind of presence that builds trust. And trust is the foundation of everything. See, communication in relationships isn't just about what you say. It's about what the other person feels when you say it. Do they feel safe, respected, understood? Most people speak to defend themselves. Few speak to connect. And even fewer pause long enough to actually hear. Here's a shift worth practicing. Instead of responding with, "Yeah, but," try asking, "Tell me more." Instead of assuming you know what they mean, ask, clarify. Because people want to feel seen more than they want to be corrected. And when it is your turn to speak, do it with intention. Words carry weight. They can scar. They can heal. They can bring someone closer, or make them shut down forever. So when you talk, let it come from calm, not ego. Say only what needs to be said, not what your pride wants to unleash in the moment. Silence, when used wisely, is a sign of strength. Not everything needs a response. Not every opinion needs to be challenged. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is simply sit with someone's pain and let them feel it without interruption. Now, this doesn't mean you bottle up your own truth. It means you wait until it's the right time, and you say it in a way that's honest and kind. Because yelling your truth isn't brave. Speaking it with care, that's courage. In relationships, your words create the emotional climate. They can either build a bridge or burn one down. Ask yourself, when I speak, am I trying to connect, or am I trying to control? When I listen, am I really hearing, or am I just preparing my reply? This level of awareness takes practice, but it's worth it. Because when someone knows they can come to you and be met with calm, presence, and curiosity, walls come down, and real connection begins. So slow down, breathe, and in your next conversation, don't try to win. Try to understand. Funny thing is, the more you focus on understanding others, the more they'll want to understand you. Speak less, listen deeply, and watch your relationships transform. Part 4. Don't take things personally, ever. This one is hard, because let's be honest, when someone you care about pulls away, gets cold, or says something harsh, it feels personal. It hits you in the chest. You start questioning everything. Did I do something wrong? Am I not enough? Why are they treating me this way? But here's the reality. Most of the time, what people say and do has nothing to do with you. It's about them, their past, their triggers, their stress, their stories. You're just standing in the crossfire of what's already going on inside them. This is a mindset shift that can change your life. Not everything needs to mean something about you. In fact, most things don't. Someone cancels plans. That's on their schedule, not your worth. Someone responds with anger. That's their coping mechanism, not proof that you're unlovable. Someone grows distant. That's likely a reflection of their emotional availability, not a verdict on your value. But when you take everything personally, you become a prisoner to everyone else's moods. You start twisting yourself into knots, trying to please people who aren't even clear on what they want. You become hyper-aware, walking on eggshells, always trying to prevent disappointment or disapproval. That's exhausting. And more importantly, it's not your job. Your job isn't to read minds or fix people or take responsibility for someone else's emotional chaos. Your job is to stay grounded in who you are, no matter what someone else is going through. Let's be clear. This doesn't mean you excuse bad behavior. It doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect. It means that you stop tying your self-worth to other people's actions. You stop asking, why don't they love me more? And you start asking, why am I chasing love where I'm not respected? You stop trying to earn love that should be freely given. You stop reacting from fear, and you start responding from clarity. And when you no longer take things personally, two things happen. You gain peace. Because you're no longer constantly questioning your own value every time someone else stumbles. You gain power. Because now you can respond with calm, with boundaries, with confidence. You're not hooked into their emotional roller coaster. When someone lashes out, you don't spiral. You stay steady. When someone gets distant, you don't beg. You reflect. This is emotional maturity, and it gives you space to see what's really going on. Sometimes, people are just hurting, and they haven't learned how to not bleed on the people trying to love them. That doesn't mean you let them bleed on you. It means you recognize the difference between empathy and enabling. So, here's the bottom line. Don't make everything about you. Don't internalize other people's wounds as your truth. And don't let someone else's inability to love you the right way convince you that you're unworthy of love. The less personally you take things, the more clearly you'll see what's real and what's not worth your energy. Protect your peace, know your worth, and never let someone's storm drown your calm. Part 5. Love through action, not emotion. Love isn't always a feeling. In fact, some of the deepest love you'll ever give or receive has nothing to do with butterflies, sparks, or perfect words. It's not about grand gestures or poetic moments. It's about showing up consistently, even when it's hard. Emotions are temporary. They rise and fall like waves. One day you're overwhelmed with affection. The next, you feel distant, tired, frustrated. That's normal. That's being human. But here's the problem. Too many people build their relationships on the highs of emotion instead of the habits of action. They say, I love you, but won't listen when it matters. They feel passion, but vanish when things get uncomfortable. They chase connection when it's easy and disappear when it's not. But real love, mature love, isn't about how you feel in a moment. It's about how you choose to show up over time. Do you show patience when they're struggling? Do you speak with respect when you're irritated? Do you stay present when your mind wants to check out? These are the real questions. Because love isn't just something you say, it's something you do, especially when it's inconvenient. You can't build a strong relationship off emotion alone. Emotions are the weather, but actions? That's the climate you live in. You may not always feel deeply in love, but you can always act with love. You can keep your promises, you can make time. You can choose empathy when it's easier to be right. And on the other side of those choices is something far more powerful than fleeting excitement. It's trust, it's safety, it's depth. When someone knows you'll keep showing up, whether you're riding the highs or struggling through the lows, that's when love becomes something solid, something dependable, something real. You want to know if love is strong? Don't just look at how people feel. Look at how they act when they're tired, stressed, annoyed, hurt. Do they shut down? Do they lash out? Or do they take a breath, stay grounded, and still choose care? Because love isn't just how you treat someone when everything's great. It's how you treat them when everything's not. It's how you communicate during conflict. It's how you respond to their vulnerability. It's how you hold space when they're not at their best. Real love doesn't just show up on good days. It gets up, gets dressed, and shows up every day. Even when it's messy, even when you're tired, even when you're scared, especially then. So the next time you question love, yours or someone else's, don't ask, "How do I feel?" Ask, "What am I doing?" What are they doing? Because that's what love is, not just a feeling in your chest, but the effort in your actions. When love becomes less about how it feels and more about what you do with it, that's when it grows. That's when it matures. That's when it lasts.